Mike worked in a time in the industry where, I call it the black cloud of fear always loomed over the boys. You always walked on eggshells. You never knew when you were getting in trouble. It's very easy to come down on the referees. Look at Mike's face right now. He's lighting up because
Yeah.
it's true, man.
Fuck
You
yeah.
you would show up to work every day and never know if you were going to get in trouble. You just try to fly under the radar. So as
That's right.
great of a career as you had, there's always that worry in the back of your mind. Am I going to get heat? I have to say the right things. My point is this: with all the negativity that comes with being in this business, sometimes,
Mhm.
did you ever really sit back and take into account and allow yourself to feel proud of yourself for that night for Rock and Hogan that you were chosen? Like, do you realize how big of a deal that is?
Yeah, I didn't at the time, to be honest. I knew the match was special because I kept the shirt and wanted him to sign it, right? And I don't have too many other shirts signed by Austin, which I wish I would have gotten shirts from Shawn Michaels, Austin WrestleMania, Mike Tyson, all these other incredible matches I've done, Brock Lesnar and Kurt Angle, Seattle. Um, it's just so like Shane McMahon's matches, he put on some good matches with Taker, this one, AJ Styles. Uh, yeah, I didn't realize it. I didn't realize it was going to be that incredible years down the road. I really didn't realize it. I mean, I knew that night was special and that match was special, but I didn't feel as special. But I knew I did my job because the bump worked out perfect. Um, Everything was, strong kickouts, and I was even going, all right, keep this close, Rock. One, two, and then he fucking kick out so early. I'm like, holy shit, we could have got a better falls finish out of that. But they still
These
came out,
freaking kids, they don't know what they're
you know.
doing.
Nah, they didn't back then.
Yeah, Mike is amazing to me because, like you said, you knew it was big, but you didn't know how big it was going to
Right,
be, and it wasn't even the main event that night. Especially at WrestleMania, you go back and look at some of the greatest matches in WrestleMania history, not the main event. So
right,
it's amazing when
right,
you have that
right.
type of experience. You're not even talking about the main event that night.
No, no, yeah, that's the trip. Like when somebody can come through and take over the match like that and have a great match, any talent, and the people are buzzing about it, and it's going crazy on social media that night or that day, the next day. Man, whew, that doesn't say a lot for your main event, you know.
Mike, did you ever think you'd be in a position like we chose you for a very specific reason to come on the show today,
Yeah, I
just
appreciate
because
that.
we wanted to put you over
I
for
appreciate
how
that, bro.
great of a job that you've done with your career, and getting put over doesn't happen very often. In our careers, like the pat on
Right.
the back goes a long way, but those pats on the backs and few and far between. So tell me about a time in your career when you did feel appreciated. Was there ever a pat on the back from Vince? Was there ever a pat on the back from a Hogan, an Austin, a Rock? Did anybody ever pull you in a room and go, Mike, you did a great job tonight, thank you?
Yeah, several times. And who I got that a lot from was Pat Patterson, Michael Hayes too. Michael Hayes he'd go, "Hey, great freaking job." Pat would go, "Oh, you had that match? Oh, I didn't even see you. Oh, you do your fucking job. Fuck, the place went banana. Fucking nut." I'm like, all right, Pat, you didn't fucking even see the bump or, hey, if I don't see you, the fucking match was great.
Wait, whoa, 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 whoa. Say that again. What would Pat say?
If I don't see the ref and I don't notice the referee in the match, he's doing his fucking job. He'd always tell me that.
That screams volumes as
and
compared
it
to
and
today's
it
pro wrestling.
and it took me a while from back in the day to understand that, but it clicked in. It clicked in. It definitely clicked in. You know.
So
Yeah,
it's good. It's good that they gave you your flowers to your
Yes,
face
yes. Vince did.
during the
Vince did
during the.
well. Yeah, and Paulie with Brock. With like the Roman Brock match with Seth Rollins cashing in. I remember Brock and Paulie pulling me over, and he's like, "Man, that's why we fucking love you, Chioda." And when stuff goes well, man, and a referee does his job in there, doesn't go into business for himself, or doesn't try to distract the crowd with all the other things that they do sometimes, the overselling. Sometimes I feel like some you see a punch 50 times a night. You see somebody taking a backdrop, unless it's something off a steel cage or a chair shot or something out of the blue, and you know, it's something like a super kick out of the blue right next to me would like jolt me. But you know, I tried not to oversell a lot of stuff like that and become the, you know, the bumblebee. What's that guy doing behind, you know, in the back of the camera?
Mike, you know, you mentioned about Hogan and Rock in that WrestleMania match being,
Right.
you know, the biggest match. But was there a match, maybe even early on in your career, where maybe you got a little overwhelmed? Like, you know, like where you realized where you were and who was in the ring and the crowd. Did that ever happen to you early on?
Oh yes, early on. I'll go back to Razor Ramon 123 kids setting up that ring in that Manhattan Center, and then you know I remember Razor calling me over and saying, "Hey Coyote, come here." Pulls me in. He goes, "Listen, I got to do the fucking job for the kid, but I want this to be like as fast as your 3 count could be, okay? But don't make it look too bad. But I need it picked up." And I'm like, 'cause we used to always be like the 1, 2, not today. Razor used to keep those, you know, 2 3/4 and Sean back in the day, and we used to work on that so much. And I used to talk to him, "I kick," you know, and because like you know the boys are always like their bell is rung a little bit. They're in a 30-minute match. You're coming home to the home stretch. You need to talk to the talent as you're counting. You do. Because you know, and you need them. You don't want their eyes wide open, but you want them slanted so you know the camera don't pick it up. And I always tell the boys, like, make sure you watch me count because all referees count different, you know. And when I'm up here coming down and I'm swiping, I may hit that map, but you're not going to hear it. But I tuck it. And when you get that crowd off your feet, like that Razor match too, that was just a quick 1 2 3. But that was early in my career. I'm like in you know bow tie and in Manhattan Center in New York City, you know, being from New Jersey, but New York City was the mecca of wrestling to me, you know, Madison Square Garden. We started that whole thing up in Manhattan Center. But Bully, you know, used to come in there with, you know, like ECW. And I remember the guys used to roll in. I loved it. I said, damn, look at look at Rob Van Dam and these boys, man. They got jumpsuits. They got, like,
We
it was
did. I
awesome.
remember that night. We were all dressed the same. Yeah.
Yeah, all dressed the same. I'm like, we don't even have freaking jumpsuits. What the hell's going on here?
Mike, what about a night that you wish you could have back? Was there a night that you remember where things went drastically wrong in the ring?
Man, the only night I probably I did so wrong was it was Candace and Beth Phoenix, the best out of 3 falls. We just get off the 17-day Europe tour. I knew Candace was she was hanging tough all week, you know, and you know, we were all hanging out partying. She was a little tired. She got dehydrated in that match and stuff like that. It was the you know, we come back on a Sunday evening or something, and you know, by the time you get your time zone straight, the next morning at Raw, and you know, she took a bad bump. I remember she goes up to the top, and then Beth. I looked at Beth as she's going to hit the ropes to make her crash and burn, and I didn't see the. She came down so fast in the corner, I didn't see it, and I kind of looked at her. I was like, and she was still awake, and I was like, all right, I just cover her, Beth, cover her. I knew she was hurt, but if she, you know, if I call the match, Beth still wins the title. You know, she wins the best out of 3. And I didn't know Beth was going to pull her out of the corner. Thought she was just going to cover her, and she pulls her out by her hair. And I didn't, you know, I was like, oh shit! And I counted 1 2 3. I was so prone as a referee to finish the matches with the boys, the girls, everybody. Always the boy. That's one thing the wrestlers always did. Whether they were hurt or not, man, they would get into a finish right away. Just prone to do it. You know, not the referee really never just stopped the match unless he talked to the boys, you know. So I counted 3, man. Vince was hot. She dislocated her shoulder. She was badly concussed. Thank God she was okay later on and all that stuff. But Vince, man, that's the one time and only time he ever fucking read me out, man. And I thought he was in my face a gorilla, you know, and I had to take it. Yeah, I fucked that up, so I should have stopped the match. He goes, I give you all control. You have every goddamn, you know, ounce of control. You're my fucking head referee and da 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 da, you know. And I'm like, yes, sir, you know. And I had to just admit it. You know, I screwed up. You know, I should have stopped the match.
Did you like working for Vince McMahon?
Yeah, I did. I really did. When the family, brother, I mean, they employed me for 35 years. bully. You know, I mean, Dave, they employed me 35 years. I never missed a ring crew shot. 23 years on the ring crew, me and Tony Chubble. We never missed one shot unless it was a snow out, which happened very little, and whatever. We never missed a ring crew shot, man. I take pride on that. And the family, man, Vince, Linda, Shane, Stephanie, they were always good to me, man. You know, as a family, it's sad to see that the family separates in a little bit in certain different ways and stuff like that. But that family-run business, and I remember when I was there 15 years. Linda called Tony and Chimmel and I and gave us when the stocks opened up, and she gave us 2,000 per year. We were there, so we got 30,000 shares at the time, and I really appreciated that. And actually seeing Linda at Hogan's funeral, and we actually talked for a few minutes, and I thanked her for 35 years. I thanked her for all the years because I never got that chance to do it.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Mike, when you look back at your career, and you mentioned, two legendary referees like a Dick Kroll and a Dick Worley.
Right.
Is there anything that you learned from them early on? Any bits of wisdom that they passed on to you early on?
Dick Kroll was smooth, man. And Dick Worley was really smooth. He taught me how to golf a little bit. He was always teaching me how to
Dick Worley was jacked. I mean, he was in great shape, Dick Worley.
Yeah, his wrestling boots were clean as a whistle. He was always really nice and combed hair, clean, cool guy. Just gave me words of wisdom at the time. I didn't start refereeing until 87, so, and I was up in the leagues already then. At the time, I was a ring crew when I was doing all the stuff and everything around the ring when Dick Worley was reffing and Dick Kroll. I did referee with Dick Kroll, and he was a nice guy. He was very quiet, and he was just always telling me, make sure, you cover your ass, cover your butt on the heat spots and stuff like that. And the boys were so good at that back in it. And they cared about the referee not seeing these heat spots. I'm going to put the piece of tool right here, and I'm going to put it in. When you come check me, you're going to check the front. But then I'm going to change it here, and I'm going to put this piece here, and I'm going to get the gimmick. And used to have fun just patting down the guys, and the crowds would go crazy, in the corner. Just, no, it's in his freaking, no, it's in there, you dumbass. Yeah, even Roger Ruffin was a good referee out of Ohio back then. He did a lot of the circuit areas on TVs and stuff. So, Joey used to give me Danny Davis, Joey, Tim White always. And they just taught me a lot, man. They taught me in and out of the business, how to have locker room respect. Make sure you shake everybody's hand and say hello, and, when Chief Jay and Jack Lanza and those guys, they taught me a lot. I remember there was a schoolboy pulling the tights, 1, 2, 3, boom. I'm staying in the ring. The baby face is giving me shit, putting the heat on me. Then I start coming back to the ring and I'm slapping fives with people. Man, Chief Jay and Rene Goulet and Jack Lanza were standing there at the end and go, what the fuck are you doing? I went, what? I didn't see the tights. You're staying in there. You didn't walk out with the heel down the aisle. You didn't raise his hand. You didn't do this. And you're staying there letting the babyface put the heat on you? Are you kidding me? Are you still? And then what is this slapping the fans and high-fiving like you're the star of the show? And I'm like, oh shit, okay. I used to get reamed a lot, when I was young, 87, 88, before I made my debut on TV. And I used to take it in and absorb it and take it from this agent, from that agent, from Grizzly Smith, from Gorilla, everything. So yeah, I was able to put it all together, and the boys were the best at covering the ref's ass, and that's how you learned, And if there was a tag, a babyface would tag it, a hot tag or something, you didn't see it, and false tag, man, if that babyface got to the heel inside the ring, he'd be so pissed if you didn't cut him off, because he looked like a jackass. I see guys going off the ropes, blasting somebody on a tag partner. He doesn't even come firing in or act like he wants to fire in. Like, okay, yeah, just come hit me again.
You're bringing things up that are so important and so lost.
Right.
Because you just talked about the referee, getting to the baby face and not allowing him to blow the comeback because you don't
Right.
see the blind tag. The
Right.
minute that baby face hits that heel,
Yep.
it's all over. Like if the
Right.
babyface can't stop himself from beating up a heel,
Nope.
but if the referee doesn't get there, then
Yep.
the babyface looks so stupid.
Brother, exactly. And I used to have I mean, I took a lot of pride 'cause I didn't want to get yelled at. And I would shoot, boom, oh shit, here he comes. And I waist lock him, fucking stop. No, you got to tag. You got to tag. You got to. I didn't see the tag. And everything.
And Mike, what you were also great at was making everything look so big. The pantomime of like you just pointed to your eyes and you just mimicked a big tag. Like you wanted to make sure that everybody in the arena understood what you were saying. You can't just sit there and go, I didn't see it. I didn't see the tag. You would point to your eyes like you're on a Broadway stage. You'd mimic the big tag. And that's the beauty. And it's, man, it's just.
I mean, even like that's it. I mean, bully, man, it's so all the stuff I teach in my class, everything a referee does, you got to I'm pulling the hair. You're pulling the fucking hair. I seen it. You're pulling the fucking hair. I heard that, even when the guys behind that false tag, the heels would go, boom, behind your head. You turn around and go, all right, I heard it that time. I heard the tag. I heard it, like if they're out slicking you, I mean, and that's what a heel should do is out slick a referee. Don't bury him, outsmart him, and everything I tell these referees and I'm training, everything is here because the people need to know and TV needs to know what you're talking about, TV, television.
And it's hard. The one thing, and you know this, like in 2025, Mike, everything is televised. Like there's very few live events anymore, and it seems like anytime there is an event, it's televised. So it makes it even more difficult on the referee because they can't get those reps in.
Can't get the reps in. And I'm feeling like there are some reps at NXT, like Chris Sharp and some of these other kids, they should be brought up. And they're just hanging in there for a long time, and some kids are in there for 3 months, and they're brought up, and I'm like, oof, okay. I just, like the young lady on SmackDown, man, and got caught up with Nia, man, like what happened there? Because she wouldn't definitely take the 3 count after getting drop kicked off on a 1-2 kick out, then the drop kick. There shouldn't have been a 3 count when she covered because she kicked out of the first pinfall. So I mean, I could see if the cover went down, she gave her the drop kick and then covered her right away, in 1, 2, 3. But I'll tell you, that
3 different people with 3 different thought processes going on at that same moment. I don't think anybody was on the same page.
Same page, right.
And it happened because the baseball drop kick was late. And that's why everybody kind of screwed up. But let me ask you just one last question. How rough is it for a referee? And were you ever in this position where the office is telling you, you're the referee, you count to 3 no matter what. If somebody fucks up, we'll bonus you. But then you have to be one of the boys in the ring and work with them.
Right. No, see, if the shoulders like that's where I like to communicate with the guys. Like if I didn't work with that person that much, or if they came up from NXT or came off the indies, I'd be like, hey, just watch me when I count. I'll talk to you when we get these close false finishes near the end. 1, 2, and I'll go, all right, here we go, brother. As I'm counting, 1, 2, get ready to kick, get ready, go. And the camera never picks that up. The camera's never focused, and you can barely. I'm not asking the referee to scream it out. You're right on top of them, so you'll hear them. They'll hear you. Be on the same page, and I mean, it's not like you're counting a 5 count in the corner, and you're very verbal, and sometimes you're picked up on the mic. But yeah, I mean, it's just I think referees need to work on a lot more stuff. There's stuff I'm teaching these refs on the indies and other people that they never even heard of, and it's going well, the class. So I mean, and I think I'm making progress with a lot of these independent refs.
Mike, we're going to see the Hardys and Team 3D at Bound for Glory coming up on Sunday. possibly for the last time. Any memories of especially Bully in the ring?
Yeah, definitely the clothesline and the 6-man tag. I loved it. And it looked great. And, if you noticed, Bubba, I sold that son of a gun all the way across the ring, boy. I remember him going, he's like, "Yo, you better sell that fucking clothesline. I mean, you better sell that fucking clothesline." I'm like, "I'm going to sell that clothesline, Bubba." And he brought it. And I always used to love the boys to bring it in because you don't want shit to look weak, You don't want it to look weak. And all the bumps that you boys and all the wrestlers are taking in the ring during the match. A referee's got one bump. He better take it, whether it's stiff or not. You know what I'm saying?
It was a little snug.
It was snug. And as I sold it, I remember Bubba going, "Jesus Christ, Chioda, you sold that fucking clothesline too long." I'm like, "What?"
Damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Oh, that's it. But
Mike,
yeah, I mean, getting thrown through the table, I remember during one of his matches, and a lot of other stuff. So it was great times with Bully Ray, man.
that's all right. I'd be kicking myself if I didn't ask you this one last question, and it's going to be tough. So do your best to answer it if you could.
All right.
Mount Rushmore of referees.
Man, I'm gonna have to. I go back to where it pretty much starts for me, right? That'd probably be Joey Morella. It'd be Joey Morella, Charles Robinson, Nick Patrick.
One more.
And probably I would say Tim White.
Okay.
Or
all right,
Hebner.
it's a great one.
I'd have to go with Earl.
Okay. All right. I love it.
I'm glad you said Earl because I was going to call him and say, "Did you hear Chioda buried you on the?"
Shit. I'm trying to think, man. I love to give Timmy the props. God bless him. I loved him to death. And Jesus, I'm like, how? Yeah, Earl's going to be in there, but I have to go. It should be really like Joey, Earl, to me, because Joey did some phenomenal matches. Andre, fucking Hogan, Bulldog, and Bret Hart in '92, Wembley Stadium, and throughout he worked with Perfect and a lot of the other guys. So, and then Earl Hebner, Charles Robinson, Nick Patrick.